and welcome to Oakville Matters. This is a television show, thanks to your TV, that allows you to get in touch with me and your counselors to talk about what matters most to Oakville. Today, what seems to matter most to Oakville is that tomorrow, the mandatory Halton mask bylaw kicks in, and I don't know if I can still be heard with it on. I think it's okay, but there's mine. But I'm joined today by Councillor Pavan Parmar and Councillor Ray Chisholm. And Councillor Parmar has outdone everybody on the question of masks. Pav, can you show your mask?
Yes, I have an Oakville mask.
It's upside down, but if you flip it around.
There we go. Can't tell with the Zoom camera. There we go.
That is so good. I want one of those.
Well, I got you one made, so there you go.
Oh, that is so kind. Thank you.
I'm jealous.
You too, Ray.
Oh boy, thank you.
We'll have a social distance meeting with our mask bylaws, our
Sounds like a
Oakville
plan.
masks.
Sounds like a plan.
There's related to COVID is let me call it the difficulty that some people are having behaving in public in our parks and so on. Pav, you've got news on that. Why don't you talk about the POPP? Do I have that right? Program.
Yes, so to provide enhanced patrol in our parks, school properties, and trail systems, the Halton Police have partnered with the town of Oakville to launch Project Police on Park Patrol. So anyone that has enforcement concerns, they can email Project POPP at haltonpolice.ca, and maybe we can get that up on the screen as well. And, you know, I've had a lot of residents reach out to us in Ward 7 about with more people spending time outside and more youth outside, and sometimes, you know, things can get busy at the park, and people would like a little bit more enforcement in place, and there's been complaints. So just a reminder to everybody to be respectful to your community, your neighbors, fellow citizens of Oakville. Everybody's going through the same thing, and it's great that we can be back outdoors and enjoying our community, but we need to always remember to respect each other.
Yeah.
Is the understanding, sorry to jump in there, the understanding that the police on this patrol program, they have identified those high-risk parks that the ones they need to deal with. I don't see them doing every park in Oakville, but again, they've identified those high-risk parks. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. And a park can become high risk, and it'll get, I guess the way to sum this up is people who are having trouble behaving well with others in public will get the attention they deserve. The police, it's a modern world. We have electronic communication. We can go where the problem is. Now, you know, some of our areas, like down on the lakefront, attract people from outside the community, and so we have almost a contest for park space, in that you know, people from communities that don't have lakefront have from time to time come over here and jostled with us for space in our own parks.
And I think that's sorry, Rob, just to jump in there. I went out on the weekend on Sunday to right from downtown Oakville to our waterfront locations, and I also went to Burlington to look at what was happening. It was unbelievable, the massive number of people out on the waterfront. And the new Tannery Park that in our ward has created a lot of traffic flow and a lot of people traffic flow into the parks. We changed that whole waterfront to a destination, and with that comes some challenges. But again, nothing but 100% from the people saying it's fantastic, the park, Tannery, and our waterfront. So kudos to the staff and to the town with respect to that development, and more to come, I hope.
Yeah. Speaking of parks and crowds, and now we've entered stage 3, and I guess the gathering numbers have gone up again. If we continue on our good track, there are people in town approaching me wanting to do a concert in a park on Labor Day, on the Labor Day weekend, and I'm listening to those requests, and I'm trying to decide whether we want to be that bold and hope that everybody will behave and keep 6 feet apart, bring and wear a mask, or whether we want to take a chance. This morning I read Dr. Bonnie Henry, the unflappable medical officer of health for the British Columbia folks, saying that they're having some kind of pivot point where it's looking like young people are taking them the wrong direction now, from a whole bunch of house parties and other forms of misbehavior. So what do you think? I think Oakville is better behaved than British Columbia, but on the other hand, I've raised 3 kids. I know what teenagers can be like. So I do worry. What do you guys think?
I'll let Pav and I'll follow up. Go ahead, Pav.
Well, I think kids will be kids regardless of where they are in BC or in Oakville. I think it's important for everyone to just remain cautious. We're opening up because of our successes, and we want to keep it that way. We don't want to put ourselves in a situation because, frankly, our economy, our businesses, and our community can't handle and won't be able to survive a second wave of COVID-19. So I think it's important for everyone to, you can gather now. I believe the maximum for indoor is 50 and outdoor maximum will be 100 as of Friday. But it's important that we still follow all of the public health guidance. And I believe there was some guidance from the province that public spaces when hosting an event are subject to indoor and outdoor gathering limits and ensuring physical distance can be maintained. So even though we're out meeting in larger groups, it's always important to keep in mind that we need to maintain the physical distance.
And back to your original question, Rob, some human behavior is something that is instilled in all of us, and it's hard to change our ways of doing things. And just going my past experience in working in this field, it is extremely difficult when you have a concert and so forth to keep the physical distancing going on. To regulate it, it's a very difficult position to put authorities into. My personal opinion is that we're at stage 3 now, up to 100 outside and 50. I think the province and the municipality and the region and everybody involved have been very responsible in bringing this back into the recovery mode. And I think that would not be, in my opinion, would be in a good direction to take having an event like that at Labor Day, just on the basis of where we're at now. Let's keep the lane open and continue on, and let's don't change lanes, and with a methodical way of making sure this happens in a safe manner for all our residents.
So yeah, thanks for that. I think I agree with you, and I'll tell these folks that it might be a bit tricky or dangerous. But what caught my attention from the item this morning with the British Columbia Medical Officer of Health was the little detail that their per capita case number is now bigger than Ontario. So they used to be the model child, if you will, and all of a sudden we're the model child, between the two of us anyway. I guess Quebec remains Canada's bad boy, to go by the numbers. What else is hot in your wards? Ray, what's the hottest thing in your ward? I know you and I and Councillor Duddick are going to have a Zoom meeting with the residents near Tannery Park.
Correct.
To see if we can come up with ways to minimize the negative impact on them of the popularity of Tannery Park. What else is going on in Ward 2?
Well, as the pandemic continues, one thing that you've seen, there's development is still happening. Homes are still going up. Spears Road is moving rapidly. It is under construction, and we're very pleased with the progress of Spears Road, because that is a major corridor that needs to be improved. And the council's diligence and everybody involved with that, we're moving in the right direction. The housing development continues. It's something that's been with us for a while. The one concern, hopefully I'll be bringing to council, is a notice of motion with respect to the province has provided an open-ended with respect to construction essential construction from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m., where it supersedes or overrides our bylaw. So I'm going to bring forward to council a notice of motion to consider that the province to administer housing, we can revert back to our traditional 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Saturday for residential construction. So because there are some residential construction developers are taking full advantage of this, and it's really on the health and welfare of our residents, being woken up at 5:30 in the morning because there's noise and trucks and so forth. So that's one of the issues. As you know, Ward 2 is always under redevelopment, and it continues on. The studies now with Tannery Park, as I said, Tannery Park and Waterworks Park were two parks together. We really didn't have a lot of community access. There was a walkway through there, but we went and developed it. So we've taken it from a different level, from what I call just a local park now to what I call a destination park. And within that area, the density of homes are very close, and the roads are very narrow, and some have sidewalks and some don't. And it's very compact. The concern we have now is with traffic, the possible perception of speeding and parking, and are all these issues because people are coming down to enjoy the park and the waterfront. And I totally agree. That's what we should be doing. However, how do we mitigate those challenges? We have right now, the staff will be looking at a traffic study for that area. And also we're going to have a virtual meeting with some of the concerned citizens with respect to the park, the operation of the park, and plus some of the other issues we have. So it's a good thing to happen. It's a good problem to have, and hopefully we can resolve most of those issues in the existing neighbors in that neighborhood. So overall, we're doing well.
Can I try an idea on you?
Sure.
On the western side of town, we have a similar problem, and we're exploring now having neighborhood parking permits so that we can tell visitors to the neighborhood that no, you can't tie up the neighborhood by bad parking practices. And that will have an effect on reducing the number of people who can go to the park at a time. So, the idea is that if you need to park in front of your house for yourself or your guest, you get a permit from the town, but otherwise it's no parking.
Yeah, that might head that in that direction, Rob. With respect to that, it's going to be a challenge, absolutely, and hopefully we can come to some resolutions on how we're going to deal with that. Traffic, intensification and the way things are going, more people are coming into the downtown area, which is good. We're building intensified condominiums and townhouses, but that brings cars, it brings vehicles, and how do we deal with that with our infrastructure, and especially in Old Oakville? There's no room to build more roads.
Well, I go back a fair way in Oakville, and I believe my very first visit to Oakville was in 1973. A friend lived on Bath Street, and those townhouses along there, they were there then.
Yeah,
Intensification didn't start yesterday.
That's right, exactly. It hasn't. It's grown over the years. And the last thing on that one is that what we have on Kerr Street and development on Kerr Street with the new development in those areas is that the transition between commercial and residential, there isn't any. And that's always a challenge, and how we move from commercial to residential, keep everybody relatively happy in the neighborhood. So those are the kind of challenges, but those are good challenges with the development, and our planning department have been on top of it, and we're moving in the right direction.
Yeah, there's places on the planet where commercial's leaving and you get a ghost town, and the people that live next to it are all of a sudden very unhappy with the fact that they're living next to a derelict. And so, yeah, there's lots of different ways for that to break. Have in Ward 7, which is the top of Oakville, how are things in the top of Oakville?
Things are great. And Ray, I would certainly support your motion because we have a ton of development happening here in Ward 7. And from time to time, we receive complaints as well that, it's happening too early or it's going on too late. We have a lot of young families in the area. So of course, those families are being affected by the development. And I can appreciate that there was, stop during COVID on development, and developers are trying to catch up. But at the same time, we need to keep in mind the needs of our community and our residents. But yeah, so there's been a lot of development on the go in Ward 7, and the businesses are back and up. We have a lot of little strips in our community along George Savage and along Preserve. So we actually got to head out last week for the Welcome Back Oakville campaign, and that was great. Oh, hey, there we go. There's the campaign.
Now there's a t-shirt.
Yes, it was so great to visit the businesses and talk to them and see where they're at. And everyone's curious, you know, how's everybody else doing? And, you know, everyone's just managing and getting by. And I think the key during this time was to adapt. And I think a lot of businesses managed to do that, take their services online. And they certainly are welcoming back and excited about stage 3. But like me and Ray were discussing earlier, nobody's really in a rush. I feel like the businesses here want to do it right. You know, they're not rushing to open their doors ASAP. They are taking the steps and precautions that they need to in order to keep customers and residents of Oakville safe. So I think that's really good on their part. And the fact that the town has launched this campaign to bring awareness back to our local shops is great.
So has construction begun on any of your new schools?
Oh, yes. Our new school, with North Oakville second school in Ward 7 is almost complete. I've been seeing some pictures, and so they're pretty much almost done. And so that was great. We had a little bit of a scare because it wasn't one of the essential construction services when we first started back up, but then we had our MPP to make that the construction continued on the school, and it's almost complete. Parents are excited to see what September will bring, and their students will get to use the new school. Their children will get to use the new school. So
that is good news. And on the on the construction hours thing, there was talk that the province would lift its declaration of emergency this Friday, and that leaves the question that the order that they gave that overrode municipal noise bylaws or construction time bylaws might or might not continue past that point. So it'll be fun to see whether they think that has to continue or not. But I certainly know that it's been a hardship on the neighbors who had to endure it because working late at night is an aggravation, and then working on Sunday is an even bigger aggravation. And it is time, I think, to dial that back. On the question of tracing and tracking, here's something I noticed yesterday when I met somebody for brunch on a patio in North Oakville. The restaurant doesn't have to, but apparently under the advice of the National Restaurants Association, each table to leave the name and phone number of one of the members at the table should tracing be necessary to try to protect people from spread that might start there. And the people I was with, one person happily gave their cell number and their name. And then this morning, I got an email from a very concerned resident, fearing, she said, that the country or the province or somebody would force people to give their names and contact information in order to facilitate tracing. And she was very fierce about this would be a violation of her civil liberties, and she wanted me to do something to prevent this from happening. So there's a two sides of this, I guess, here. And I hope I don't get in trouble with her for telling you the reason that she offered, but it's too funny not to share. She said that this would be very bad for anybody engaging in an extramarital affair. you know, if they were found out. So,
That's funny.
but you know, you go home with a case of COVID, your partner might very well want to say, "Where'd you catch that?"
Well, just on the whole
yeah.
contact tracing, I think the province is also working on releasing an app for contact tracing, and I believe they said it might be ready this coming Friday. There's been some delays on it, but the software was to be tested in Ontario first. So that'll be another tool that residents can use as well. And I think there might be built-in maps on it, so it kind of just tracks your whereabouts anyways. And you can check into places and list who you were with, so you can keep track of it as well, because it's always handy to have that information should you need it.
Yeah, the challenge with that, Pav, is, I don't know about you, but my older residents have real fears of giving out information as a privacy thing. And the technology is there, but again, people are not, it's not in tune to what they think is appropriate. It's like Big Brother's watching, and but again, you listen to the media and everything else, and you come up with those conclusions. And so the challenge is, as a young participant in the technology world versus somebody who's a senior, totally different mindsets altogether. So that's the challenge I have in my ward. The only thing I wanted to bring up before we finish off, Rob, is in looking at the stage 3, there are still businesses that are not allowed to open, and they're considered high risk. And I know the business have had a lot of strain and a lot of pressure, and it's still going to continue on. And there's some who still can't open. So I was just looking at it. Maybe our audience needs to know if they're a high risk and they cannot open and they need some type of assistance and so forth. The Ontario government has a line for it. So it's ontario.ca/reopen. So they might get some advice and some help with respect to their business. So
that's
I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah, that's a valuable tip. And do you know? I mean, I know a couple on that list that can't open, and I only remember them because they're so odd. I mean, I'm not aware of one in Oakville, but here's one that can't open. A bar. Do we have an oxygen bar? And more than that, what is an oxygen bar?
It's next door to the CO2 bar. I don't know what it is either. It just inhale pure oxygen. I've seen something on TV, and I think that's what it is, but that's far from my level of understanding.
Now, another one, I'm not aware of us having one, but you know, karaoke bars are apparently because singing expels more droplets, and so no karaoke bars. But I guess there are karaoke machines in some bars, but maybe they've got those taped off. Do you know anybody whose kids are looking forward to finally being able to play on the playground this Friday?
My kids are all grown. My grandchildren are the splash pads. That's all I know. And you take that one on. You're a young parent.
Pav has the playground age kids.
Oh my God. You don't understand what it's been like to go to the splash pads and say, no, but you can't go over there.
That's right.
Why
yes.
not? Well, you can't. Well, that kid's tearing off the tape and going over there. Why can't I? It's not allowed.
Well, it's a bad look on a counselor.
Yeah.
Well, the challenge has been, Rob, it's a human behavior. We've been doing these things, and even our children are doing these things, and all of a sudden, for them to understand, I have a six-year-old grandson. He has difficulties with this and how this is working. Yes, you do that, but Grandpa, how come I can do this, but I can't do that? So it's a real education for our younger children, because they really don't have a grasp with the magnitude of what we're going through. So that's a challenge. And you're right, Pav. I've seen people on the playgrounds and tearing down the tape and so forth. And that's the reality. It's not 100% foolproof. Our bylaw enforcement officers in the town have done an admirable job in doing what they can do to a certain degree. But again, it all relates back to everyone in our municipality and the region to cooperate. We're all in this together. And the virus is still here. It's not gone away. And we need to keep moving in the right direction and stay in our lane and continue on until such time that professionals and experts tell us this is the next stage. That's what we follow. So, I know there's a lot of naysayers out there, but I just tune those out and let's move forward. And Rob and the town council and the regional council and the province have done a very, very good job in moving us forward. And I'm quite pleased, as long as we stay the right direction.
Thank you, Ray. Thank you for that. I put out a nightly update on COVID news and other stuff affecting the town. And if you don't already subscribe and you're watching, you can email mayor@oakville.ca and we'll put you on the distribution list. Tonight, we're going to have a feature in that update of actual cases from across Canada of 4 young people who didn't think they could get it and got it. And their unanimous message is, holy cow, it's worse than I ever wanted to believe, and it's really terrible, and don't get it if you can avoid it. Ray, we've only got a minute left, but Pav and I think, are wondering, given that you were, and really, folks, this is true, I'm not making this up, Ray was an amazing hockey star for the Blades when he was young. When you were young and handsome, right, Ray? And so I got to know in like 30 seconds or less, is your 6-year-old grandson going to be playing hockey?
He's already started, Rob. He started when he was 3 years old. We've had him at rinks. Matter of fact, he's in rinks now in the summertime with a very limited group. So yeah, he's doing it, and he's doing quite well. Hopefully he'll, you haven't gotten into the stars of being in the NHL. I just want him to enjoy the game, and as much as I enjoyed the game, and it's also good for him and his family. They love the game. But there's also other sports he's playing, and he's really good at it, and that's he's tennis. Is phenomenal what he's doing with that. And I got 2 1-year-olds, and just as a side note, I only got 30 seconds. They were with us for 6 weeks, so I know it's a challenge with the young ones over this COVID-19 and being the pandemic and being isolated. So
thanks.
Anyways, we're getting to it.
Our time did run out there, and I thank you for joining us, and I hope that you'll join us next week on Oakville Matters.